Blue collar, white collar, black professors, white scholars, politicians, Dalai Lamas. Everybody in the whole wide world need hope if I be honest. I'm in that number.
Hey, good day. Welcome to another episode of Rob Report. I'm your host, Robert Bob TV Brown, and there you go. Old Uncle Joe. Now, I've been out of for a loop. Like I said, I've been having some situations concerning family, and haven't been in the loop, but of course, I've been keeping tabs with Joe Biden and his announcement of his running. And two things I'm going to talk about today in this episode of Rob Report is Joe Biden. Now, what I want you to do is take some time and go to the video section on YouTube and look for that video where I talk about the racist policies of Joe Biden. Joe Biden may be the kind, gentle, too much of a touchy-feeling dude to the point where he invades people's space. And I got a video on The View talking about that, and I'm going to talk about that later. These women on The View, they're so tribalistic, they're so pro-democratic, and even Meghan McCain is jumping on a bandwagon that she's so desperate to get rid of Trump that she's willing to suck up to a Democrat. And I get it, some people like that, you know. But clearly, Joe Biden is not the hero that people think that he is, and if they check the record, they'll realize that Joe Biden's policies have in the past, and to this very date he's proud of it, is his legislation as he was coming up as a senator in the early 80s, going into the 90s. And go take a look at that. But we're going to talk about him. Joe Biden went on The View. Now, I haven't seen this video yet, so I am going to have some reactions. Biden is running for president, and then he did his first guest appearance on The View. Now, you got to understand, Joe Biden has got a book that he's selling like most presidential candidates do. They have a book. Kamala Harris got a book. Beto O'Rourke got a book. Buttigieg got a book. I'm not changing his name, so stop it. People stop asking me to change titles. Stop asking me to say names right. It will not go well for you. You're wasting your time. Don't do that. All right? Yeah, I say that because people got upset because I said Tulsi Gabbard got balls, balls of steels. And if I say balls of steels, there's more than one kind of ball of steels. Get your mind at the gutter. And don't ask me to be politically correct because I'm the wrong one to be politically correct. Joe Biden goes on A View and he's pushing his book. I think the book is entitled Dad, Do It For Me. And I guess that's his son telling him to run for president before he died. And so I guess Joe feel like he got two obligations, the obligation to his son and that, hey, who else going to stop Trump? Bernie ain't going to be able to do it. Really? Tulsi Gabbard ain't going to be able to do it. I got a better chance than anybody. Why? Because the establishment pump you up. Let me stop.
Back with former Vice President and newly Democratic presidential candidate, none other than the legendary Joe Biden. We're so excited that you're here. Joe, I have to ask you, what took so long to get into the race? We're so happy you finally announced.
Well, you know, let me ask the audience.
First of all, we're so excited to be running. What took you so long? We're so excited. Yippee! Yay! She don't like Trump. I get it. She don't like Bernie Sanders. I get it because she's been sold this bill of good on so-called socialism or socialist and Democrat. Even though Bernie calls himself a democratic socialist, he's actually terming himself wrong. He's not a democratic socialist. He's not. He's just an individual that believes in social democracy, where we should come together as a collective to help fund the needs of our country, that we should be running the government. We, the people, is a socialist, social democratic term. We, the people, do this. Not the government do this. We, the people. So you think she'll be she will be on the side of social democracy. A democratic social and social democracy is two different things. And I wish Bernie just stopped saying he's a democratic socialist. Nothing wrong with democratic socialists. All right, they do have some views, but I'm like most. I'm like Chris Hedges. There's different form of capitalism. I'm not anti-capitalism at all. A friend of mine's, my homeboy, he's full-blown socialist, pretty much communist. And I'm not there. I believe that capitalism has its place. There's a certain level of capitalism. And when they get over into greed and extreme crony capitalism and things like that, then we got a problem. So I'm more in agreement with Chris Hedges on capitalism. But she's happy. Why? Because we need to get rid of that person that's trying to take all our money, and we need old corporate Joe, corporate Democratic Joe. I wouldn't even say Joe is a corporate Democrat. Joe is a Republican. His whole thought process, his whole voting is Republican. All right, so I don't even consider him a Republican. I'm like The View. Every time Bernie Sanders come up there, one of the first thing Whoopi Goldberg says is he's not a Democrat. He's only running as a Democrat. He's not a Democrat. Well, I can say the same thing about Joe Biden. He's not a Democrat. He caucused with the Democratic. He signed the paperwork that gives him the D. But deep down inside, Joe is Republican red as they...
I mean, it's not till February the first vote cast. And so I don't think it's too long. And I made it clear from the beginning that if I was going to do this, and the family was pretty sure we were going to do this a long while ago, it's a long road. Yeah. So I think this is plenty of time. Plenty of time.
Well, you said something yesterday in your announcement video that really brought tears to my eyes. You said that we are in a battle for the soul of this nation. And I felt that in my soul. What did you mean by that?
What I mean by that is we are not, this is not who we are the way we're treating people. It's not who we are as a nation when we're talking about things like the reason for your problem is the other. It really is what I said, and I really mean it. And I wrote an article at the time, and the Atlantic.
All right, so when you said we're in the battle for the soul of the country, it moved me to tears. Okay, Bernie Sanders been saying stuff like that, Tulsi Gabbard. Every president say stuff like that. How come it moved you to tears now? Because you heard Joe Biden said it. Oh, corporate Joe. Oh, warmonger Joe. Really battling the souls for our country when our country is leading the forefront of lighting the world on fire? You believe this dude and it moved you to tears when you check his record? People, wake the heck up. You're falling for these personas, oh good old Joe, oh Joe, friend of Obama, a nice guy. Don't let the nice guy fool you. The record speaks for itself. The damage that's been done is speaking for itself, especially when it comes to the crime bill, Welfare Reform Act. It's still affecting people today. It speaks for itself. But the people who it affected are on this Joe Biden tip. You know what Joe Biden did. How Joe Biden policies put you in prison for something as dumb as weed. How Joe Biden problems had your parents probably or family member going head to head with the drug war. But let me get off this because I talk too much.
At the time, and the Atlantic magazine back when Charlottesville happened, and saying that this is not who we are. There's an American creed. It's about decency, honor, including everyone, leaving no one behind. But the idea to compare these racists and not condemn them, and the neo-Nazis, and compare them to people who were genuinely decent Americans coming forward and saying, stop this. It was like, I don't remember that ever happening in an administration before in well over 100 years. I mean, so I just found myself.
All right, Joe. Now you really piling the bull on. I better watch where I step, because you're full of 100 years, Joe, of racism going on, and that didn't take place in the White House. See, people, you got to understand. Everybody, they put racism on the level of people calling people the N-word and all kind of names, all kind of racial slurs, and action done because of your color. Dude, that is just one aspect of racism. When somebody lay down racist policies that affect a whole entire demographic of people. And yes, black people, Hispanic people, poor people, your policies marginalize them. Your policies press down. Some of your policies, Joe, left a lot of people dead on the streets. So for you to say 100 years, dude, that I've never seen anything, that's cause, well, if you say that, man, that means you're part of white supremacy yourself, dude. You got so far into the makings or the action of white supremacy that you don't even see it yourself. So it's like when I moved to New York City, I'm a Florida boy. I'm cold, man. 60 degrees was cold. But as I spend more time in New York City, I mean, cold now to me is 20 and under. I could deal with 45, 50. That's all right, good weather. Why? Because I became accustomed to it. I acclimated to the weather. I got comfortable. I got used to it. It became a part of me. And that's what you're doing, Joe. You've been so much a part of the administrative side of white supremacy that you don't even recognize. When I say administrative side, I'm talking about policy making, laws, bills pushed through the Senate and passed through the Senate that marginalize the people. And for him to say this is offensive to me. Bad enough the last video I showed was offensive. He's still being offensive to me. And anybody who knows the history and lived in the hood and understood what happened. Now, when I was coming up, my neighborhood was decent, but I still knew some crackheads. And as I got out of high school and I moved to Virginia, I really met a bunch of crackheads because, I was doing a little hustling on the side. So I seen effects. And I thank God that I didn't get caught up in that mess too much. And one day you'll hear about my story in the book I'm writing.
Thinking, and by the way, I traveled around the world an awful lot as vice president, and since then I have as well. And the rest of the world, I mean, they look at us like, my God.
What happened to America?
But you've spoken about it. We've not led merely by the example of our power. It's the power of our example.
Yeah.
All right, see, more bull crap. Bull, Joe. You're going to say the world looking at us and say, what is happening? The world been saying that for over 40 years, Joe. What has happened to the American idea? We inspired to be America because of the prosperity of America. And yet when they come here, they find out the reason we got a lot of that prosperity is because we pretty much bullied, and it's like that mob gang that goes around in the neighborhood and claim to be protecting the stores at the same time and will beat the store owner up if they ain't pay them for their protection. That's what America is. We're extortionists. We go around and we bully these countries and expect payment for it. Now, Trump going even further. He's like, look, you're going to pay us. Now, we did the stuff for free. We wanted to be free bullies, but, as long as you share some of your oil and your gold and your prosperity that we give back to your capitalist government, when we turn your democracy and when we turn your nation into a democracy and capitalist country, we'll work business deals with you. Trump said, look, y'all going to pay me. Trump is a real thug. I mean, he go around the neighborhood and say, I'm going to protect you, but you're going to pay me. You're going to pay your part. You're going to invest in this protection, Doc. You ain't going to get nothing free. I'm not protecting your store for free no more. All the time they was hiring people to go in there and beat up the store owners, and they would come in and beat the guy up, give him a little bit so they can extort money out. And that's what we do all over the world. We pay these adversary governments to do things to other government, and then we go in and stop them when the whole time it was us starting this thing anyway. And Joe gonna say what the world is looking at us and saying, what happened to America? All because Trump is in office? Trump ain't been lighting the world on fire like we've been doing the past 16, 20 years. Republican and Democrats lighting the world on fire. Now Trump extended it. He have not stopped it. He lied, but it didn't start with him, Joe. and don't speak racism to other countries, because they don't look at Trump as a racist. They look at America as being a melting pot, but yet the government is racist.
It really has been the power of our example. I mean, your dad, not a joke. Your family.
The power of example. It's not example of our power, it's the power of our example. We are not example, Joe. We haven't been an example for a long time, Joe. I don't think our examples were limited. We were the best that they saw, but that don't mean we were the best. They saw little things that considered Americana and wanted them to come over here and be Americans and leave their country. You know why, Joe? Because what they had was worse than what we got here. That don't make what we have here cool. Okay, fine. And then he's gonna talk about somebody's daddy. Please don't come with McCain, because all I hear is daddy, daddy, daddy. My father, 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 your father. Let me be quiet.
That it really has been the power of our example. I mean, your dad, not a joke. Your family, it's example. It's why the rest of the world's followed us, and they're looking like, my Lord.
You know,
what's going on?
We know that you served as President Obama's vice president for the full 8 years, and yet yesterday
Is that a surprise? All 8?
I know.
I'm joking.
As far as I'm concerned, those were very successful 8 years.
It was only successful, economically speaking. It got us out the dirt and put us back at the horrible level that we were before. We were not all that good after the ditch. The best years that we had in the economy was during the Clinton years. Give that to Clinton. Bush messed it up. Obama got us out the ditch and put us right back right before, because it started declining after that. But so don't talk about successful year. Only successful for you rich people.
For both of you and for the country. But you said yesterday, I asked President Obama not to endorse.
Yeah, well, look,
Why?
the president, everybody knows, I think everybody knows, we didn't only serve together, but our families are close. We became very close personal friends. I mean, it's as some of the vice presidential scholars and presidential scholars have written they think there's very few, probably no other administration where the president and vice president became as personally close. I grew to respect him, and he is just a man of great honor and discipline, and his family, he and my wife and Michelle are close friends. They were talking to each other they went over to see each other the other day. So I didn't want it to look like he was putting his thumb on the scale here. And that, that I'm going to do this based on who I am, not by the president going out and trying to say, this is the guy you should be with.
Now, look, I applaud you on that, because it seems like, okay, that would kill Hillary Clinton. Hillary Clinton couldn't do it on her own. She had to trot out everybody to do it for her. That was a punk move. But, Joe, ain't nobody stupid, Joe. We don't need Obama to get through a poo-put and say, I endorse Joe. You're going to get your endorsement automatically. You are his vice president. You are his VP. You automatically get it, whether he say anything or not. For us, him going on the campaign, it wasn't going to help you anyway, just like it didn't help Hillary Clinton. So, dude, you got a lot to do, because what you're doing ain't enough.
So that's why I asked him not to. I'm incredibly proud to have served with him. And the thing I'm proudest of is coincidentally, we're each in a different part of the country, and we were each talking to groups of people that were being televised. And at the same day, purely coincidentally, we had asked the question, what are you proudest of in your administration? You know what I said? It turns out he said the same thing, and probably a little more clearly than I did. That not one single whisper of scandal.
Not one.
Not one single whisper of scandal. And that's Barack Obama.
That's right.
That's because of Barack.
I know, he's amazing. So, a lot of people, some people blame Hillary's loss on her troubles to the fact that she couldn't connect with the blue-collar voters, a group that Trump actually won. That and, the Russian interference, that's another reason. But it's going to come down to Pennsylvania. I keep hearing this on the news all the time. Now, that's your state. Aren't you a Scranton guy in the original?
I'm from Scranton, and, under the fairness doctrine, for a long time, only 2 states didn't have their own television stations from New Jersey and Delaware. Not a joke, commercial television station. And so I've been covered in Pennsylvania.
Let me start with this. Joe loved to trot out Scranton, Pennsylvania. Do your investigating on Scranton? Scranton, Pennsylvania, the ratio on white to black is so divided. Ain't that many Hispanics, Latinos there. The ratio on white to black is hugely divided, and yet majority of people in jail, when it comes to black to white ratio, is hugely divided. It's upside down for the penal system. Of course, blacks outweigh any color in the penal system in Scranton. They're more likely to get arrested and go to jail than anybody in Scranton. But yet they want you to make Scranton this old good old town and everybody get together and everybody, it's not always true. And, so Joe tout that. But look, that's like me saying, I live in the Bronx. Look, all I can tell you is what's going on in the street, but Joe probably haven't been hanging out in Scranton like talking about in a long time.
Covered in Pennsylvania by about, I guess, half the state for my entire career, and in New Jersey the same. And so I have, and Philadelphia is, is a suburb of Wilmington. No, I'm not joking,
not
but,
really.
I know it's not. But we're only 18
close.
minutes apart. And
How are you going to get those voters?
Well, I think just by making the case that we have to restore dignity to work. We have to restore dignity to the way we treat people. I mean, think about this. The way we treat ordinary, hard-working Americans who are middle class and working class people fighting to get in the middle class is we treat them like they're a means to an end, as opposed to an ends in themselves. Kant had this great quote, and I'm paraphrasing him. He said, dignity is not treating people like a means to an end, which is going on now, but an end in themselves. And people, look, you all know it. Just go out. If you walk by, when's the last time we went out and thanked the guy who kept the sewer from overflowing and going into your basement? When's the time we went out and talked to the guy and the woman who's up on a bucket reestablishing a connection for a generator and says thanks? Matter of fact, I was talking to, in the last hurricane, I was down south. We were trying to figure out to get more help down there, and there was a guy up on a bucket putting on. I came out of a gas station, and to pay my bill, and I walked over and I said, "Hey man, thanks a lot." And the guy looked down at me and said, "Are you kidding me?" And I said, "No." He didn't know who I was. I was in a T-shirt. In a band launch shirt, and I said. And he looked at me, he brought the bike, he said, "You serious, man?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "No one's ever thanked me before." Wow. But think about what we don't do, guys, as a nation, how we've divided. It's all been about dividing. And I think that, and there's real opportunity.
You see how these women just going over Joe Biden? Stop it. You're clearly showing your bias right now, ladies of The View. You're clearly showing your bias. You think Joe's going to be Obama, the second coming. You're probably hoping Joe make Obama his VP. Yeah, he could do that if he wants to, I guess. But it ain't happening, dog. It ain't happening.
And there's real opportunity, incredible opportunity if we just treat people more decently. My dad used to have an expression. He said, "Joey, a job's about a lot more than a paycheck. It's about your dignity. It's about your place in the community. It's about your place in society. It's about your sense of your self-worth." And he'd always end, "It's about being able to look your kid in the eye and say, 'Honey, it's going to be okay,' and mean it." Think of how many people don't think they can do that today.
Yeah.
And this president has done nothing to help that group of people.
Nothing.
I certainly understand what you were saying about it sometimes being complicated when it's personal and the political and not having Obama want to endorse you so early, and I certainly understand that. But I think a lot of people are asking, what do you think the single biggest difference would be between an Obama White House and a Biden White House?
In terms of hopefully acting and dealing with integrity and dealing with, look, the reason why the president and I got along is philosophically we're in the same place. We disagreed on implementation of some things. We disagreed on timing some things. But that was a great relationship because we had lunch once a week alone for the better part of an hour, and we could talk about anything, argue with one another. When he asked me, is there anything that I'm most concerned about? I said, and he said, I want to be able to have frank conversation with you. And so as vice president, you don't want to be in a position, you should never be in a position of publicly disagreeing with the president. But I never, he said, I'd never worry you walk in the Oval and not tell me what's on your mind. And that's what it was all about. And I hope that I've learned from him in that relationship, but on a philosophic basis, it's about moving to the future. It's not about recreating what we did. It's about taking the same decency and the philosophy that we have, the political philosophy, and taking it into the future. There's so much we can do, my Lord.
Well, they're taking it backwards, but we have to
All right,
go.
we have so much more to talk about, and I'm so glad you're going to be here for the rest of the show. So we will be right back with former Vice President Joe Biden.
It looked like Joe Biden, his whole policy is this. He's running on, we need to stop this. We need to bring the country back together. We need to get rid of this hatred, this division. Look, dude, Jesus couldn't do that. Jesus understood that there was a devil and there was good people and evil people. He didn't expect good people and evil people to get along. Now, how we identify who's good and evil may be a hard thing to do. But his whole thing is, I'm running on, we need to come together. You're not going to win on that, Joe. You're not going to win. Sure, we need to come together as a country. And sure, you may believe that you are the man to bring Republicans, Democrats back together. But that don't mean that is what it's going to take to get you to win. You can switch around this country and saying we need to come together. Let me tell you something Tulsi Gabbard is doing. She's saying we need to come together, but she's not just saying that. She's also saying, I'm coming after the military complex. I'm coming after Big Pharma. Bernie Sanders is doing the same thing. Kamala Harris, I don't believe that. But I believe these two. I believe these two believe what they're saying. You know, I still have a little distrust here and there because it's been told in history, anybody who made these promises when they got in office, it was hard for them to deliver, or they changed their tune. So, of course, I'm going to be a little skeptic. I've been burnt so many times. I'm happy you're saying this thing, and I'm glad these are on your platform. And if you win, you're still going to have to show me. All right, but the bottom line is on Joe. Joe thinking we must come together for the sake of the world, and I'm the man that's going to bring y'all together. Dude, that is cocky, arrogant, kind of godlike, because now you think you Jesus. And at the same time, other people in the Democratic Party are coalescing around this, thinking that this is a strategy to win. First of all, Joe, you're wrong about the racial divide been going on for past over 100 years up to this day in government. Policies in government, from the president on down, in government has caused division. Now, they may not be at war. They may not be bumping heads, calling each other names. That's happening a little more. You're right on that, but you can't stop that. People got freedom of speech. Still want to call me the N-word? I can't stop him from saying that. I can go punch him in the throat. But he have a right. He could say that all he want. My job is to ignore it, or I can go back and call him a name. And eventually we're going to, a president can't stop that and never will stop that. And if you start passing laws to stop that, then you start dealing with other freedom of speeches. Okay? We already got to deal with hate speech laws that sometimes get abused, where you over abusing it, where I got to call you this. Yeah, I ain't got to call you nothing, man. I mean, let me stop. I don't even want to go there, man. When somebody trying to infringe on my freedom to be me, I got a problem with that. Okay, you let me work on me, and you work on you. But anyway, Joe Biden in this particular video of The View is basically saying, "Oh, the reason I'm running is because Trump has divided this country so much. His policies have divided this country so much people are hating each other. We can't even get along, and that's bad. And I'm the only one can stop that. So I'm going to go around the country, and that is going to be my message so we can stop this. Dude, that ain't enough to win. That ain't going to win jack, because these people going to say, man, shut up with that stuff. Get out of here with that mess. Oh, we must come together. Cory Booker is good to that. Oh, you sound like Captain America with these big speeches, man. You trying to be like Obama with these big speeches. It didn't do anything for working people. Working people need a minimum wage of at least $15 or more. In some states, $20, $25 minimum wage. New York, definitely that. People need to be able to get their health care without going in debt. People need to go to school without going in debt. That money need to be put into the economy. You're not talking that language, Joe. You know, American descendants of slaves, they need reparations because the wealth gap has gotten so wide, it's not closing, and they're going to be left. We're going to be left in the wind. We're going to become pretty much a dot in the middle of a white piece of paper. You ain't going to do that, Joe. No, because in the past, your policies have been anti-black. Some of them policies, sad to say, Bernie Sanders signed on them too. I hate to say that, but it's true, and I'm always tell you the truth. Now, could Joe Biden change by now? Is this the same Joe Biden in the crime bill? Well, to me, yeah. If he said, this is my crowning achievement, I grafted that with my bare hands and all that, he's owning up to it. So I guess he's still the same person. He hasn't apologized for that. He hasn't apologized for how he abused Anita Hill. I can go on and on and on with the things that he haven't apologized for to this date. He don't understand how bad that crime bill was. To this date, he's not apologizing for it. So no, Joe, you ain't going to be able to win on this message. And you're not going to force people to go your way. And we all need to come together. No, we're not. It's not about division. People just understand that you politicians are full of crap. And to the Republicans, at least Trump keep it real. We know he's a jerk in a butthole and don't care about people, certain people. So Joe Biden, man, I'm telling you now, got people don't fall for this Joe Biden policy. There's no policies. There's no plan to lift up the people. There only is Trump bad, hatred is bad, racism bad, I'm good, I'm non-racist, I bring a message of unity. How you going to unify racists, Joe? Because the way you're talking, hate and racism is on the rise. How are you going to calm that down, Joe? You're not going to calm that down. Okay? And you're not going to spread the message of love when you were part of burning up most of the country in the world. So that message is not going to resonate. Bringing the world together as one is not going to work for you. It did for Obama with the red-blue Democrats version. That worked for Obama. It's not going to work for you. And if Obama told you that would, he is horribly wrong. A message of unity and nothing else, is not going to cause you to beat Trump. Trump can preach hatred and all that and defeat you if you're going to preach a message of unity alone. You got to come up with some strategies and some policies. Now, part 2 is coming on this, on The View. And then I'm going to talk about his new campaign advisor, former spokesperson for Bernie Sanders, Simone Sanders, and how this is a ultimate sellout move. Because to me, she was a fraud going into that campaign. She's an opportunist that's trying to climb the ladder, and get paid that dollar. She's all about the Benjamins, baby. Now here I am, I'm talking about a black woman, so you're going to call me anti-Semitic? She's all about that money. And she joined Joe Biden's team. And it's not good. It's not going to be good because you had somebody working on the insides of the Bernie Sanders campaign now working for Joe. And she's going to find everything she could do to undermine the Sanders campaign. And like I said, it is what it is. This is a race and this is competition. Can't get mad. That's just how it is. Biden was enough. I guess somehow he promise her some things that she decides she's going to jump on with Biden because she's an opportunist. We're going to go over that a little later. I'm Robert Brown with the Rob Report. I'll holler at you later. Peace. Hey, thank you for watching that episode of the Rob Report. Before you go now, I need you to do two things for me. First thing, I want you to like the video if you liked it. Second thing, I want you to share it all across social media. And if you have not subscribed, please make sure you hit the subscribe button right now. Stop and do it. As Jimmy Dore says, sometimes you think you're subscribed or you go check and find out you're not subscribed. So make sure you check that you're subscribed and hit the notification bell. That'll let you know when I put a new content out. I'm not a fan of Super Chat, so if you plan on giving to the efforts of Bob TV, make sure you do that through Bob TV NYC at paypal.me. Anybody who want to have free access to my Patreon channel, I'm trying to save you money on your cable bill. I ran into a program that I think everybody need, everybody can afford, and everybody should have, and that link is down there below. 5,000 plus channel, best sports package, and the best premium TV and even international channels, and you can access this all over the world. Go ahead and check that out, get your free trial, and if you decide to support, become members of those two services, we'll go ahead and give you full access to the Patreon channel, and there's no cost to it. So my name is Robert Brown with the Rob Report. Thank you for watching. I'll holler at you later. Peace.